Nick Offerman is joining us on Gorman in the Morning. Nick, the book, Little Woodchucks, Offerman Woodshed's Guide to Tools and Tomfoolery, just another Hollywood tell-all.
Yeah, I'm just your typical scandal fodder. I can't keep my hands out of the sawdust, as they say.
Tools and Tomfoolery. This is actually a book I can use. I am useless in a woodshed. I'm useless with tools. I know you're writing this for a younger reader, but I'll go ahead and say thanks because I've already been looking through this. I'm like, yeah, I really could have used this thing about 50 years ago.
Well, I appreciate your perspective because it is secretly for the grown-ups. It's like
Okay.
it's propaganda to be delivered through parents to young people, but it's so the parents say, "Oh, wait a second, this sounds like a good idea for all of us."
Yeah, it really does. Any book that offers a guide on how to make something called a slapstick, I'm instantly intrigued by the concept.
Incredibly fun, the slapstick, and not only is it fun to make pretend fights and comedy with your friends, but it's fun. I like to take the slapstick to the courthouse or the library and learn about pushing the envelope in public comportment.
It's another great lesson for parents and kids these days.
That's right, to learn about patience.
That's it, man. So obviously, you with tools in your hands, this goes back a ways. You grew up, I would imagine, pretty handy.
Well, I did, thanks to my large agricultural family in small town Illinois. My mom's side of the family are all farmers, and my mom and dad both grew up on farms. So me and my siblings just grew up, learning to hammer a nail and sew a button and flip a sausage and a pancake, and we built barns and houses, and
Hmm.
family were prolific gardeners, and really it's just that then fell into this crazy life and entertainment, and as I'm writing books or touring the world, I find no better material than passing those values on to my audience and say, phones are a lot of fun, but only to a certain extent. Actually doing things with each other and making things with your hands is much more fun. And at the end of it, you have a table.
Were you the first actor of the bunch? It sounds like the family you grew up in. You were probably the first guy to head out for the bright lights.
Yeah, I was a weird black sheep. My three siblings are all really admirable, and they're really smart. They're smarter and funnier than I am, hilariously. But they're we got a school teacher,
Hmm.
a librarian, and my brother's a craft brewer, so he's kind of the king of the
Wow. Yeah, I was going to say that's top of the heap right there. I hear a lot of people say for actors, young actors, it's a great way in is to actually write as well. Like don't be afraid of writing. I've never heard anyone say, "Hey, building sets is a good entree," but clearly this stuff was helpful for you when you were trying to crack in.
It's funny. My mom and dad were always really supportive, and it was a really crazy idea when I said I wanted to go to theater school. And they said, "We support you. You always give it your best shot. Just, have something to fall back on. Like
Hmm.
try and make sure you can make a living while you're sort of making this dream come true." And I already had been given tool skills from my dad. And so I just sort of remained a carpenter and then eventually became a fine woodworker and furniture maker. So now when people ask me, how can I get my kid where you are? I say, well, but I suggest learning woodworking. Because if you can do something with your hands, then like if you're a massage therapist or you cook
Hmm.
food or you take care of kids or sew clothing, there's so many things you can do. And you can be your own boss. You can figure out how to make a living, especially with the internet. So it's really it's a fun thing to do with your time. It's much cheaper than subscribing to a corporate channel. And at the end of the day, you've made something. You've made yourself some income, or you've made an incredible lasagna.
That's fantastic. We're with Nick Offerman. Majors and Quinn Booksellers presents the Little Woodchucks book tour coming this Monday, the 13th, at the O'Shaughnessy. That's in St. Paul at St. Catherine's University. So you will be here. I would imagine these book events are a lot of fun. You probably get a wide range of folks with a whole lot of different things they want to hear from you.
I do, but this one's going to be especially fun because it's a family book, And so my co-author Lee is coming with me, and she's actually going to be making a slapstick on stage while I try to form a B minor chord and entertain the crowd with some new songs.
Oh, it's fantastic. And you'll be back in Minnesota. I would be remiss if I didn't mention in a season filled with tremendous performances. Fargo season two. I mean, obviously a great character, but man, you just batted 1,000 as Carl Weathers that year.
Oh, thank you. That was really lucky writing to be on the receiving end of from the great Noah Hawley, who writes that show. You know, it's funny. I've been fishing in Minnesota since I was 5 years old. My family drives up every year, and it's the one thing. Last year, for example, the producers of Hollywood know you can't mess with the Offerman family fishing trip. So last year, it was in my contract. They had to fly me from Budapest to go fishing out by Park Rapids, and so I never miss. And I'm crazy about some for some reason. And then I went on to build canoes, and I feel like I'm an aspiring Minnesotan.
That's fantastic. Looking forward to having you back in the homeland then. You did mention you'll be attempting to make chords that sound right as you're performing some songs. I got some gigs coming up. I'm a drummer, and I'm going to be playing with your buddy Jeff with some Golden Smog gigs in December.
Oh, that's fantastic. I have been looking at those dates. I'm going to do my best to get to one because I'm a huge Golden Smog fan.
Yeah, since I got to the Twin Cities myself, I've been playing with them. They're all old friends of mine forever, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. This is the first time Jeff's been involved since I got involved, so I'm looking very forward to that.
I am thrilled. I hope I can see one of your gigs. And it's a good point. In the book I mentioned, musical instruments are something you can make with your hands,
Hmm.
and a lot of them you can make with wood. In fact, I'm playing a ukulele on the tour that I built. That is not the finest. It's not quite a Martin ukulele, but it does sound like a ukulele, and the slight discordant element matches my voice admirably.
So you're answering my questions ahead. So that's great. If you get a ukulele that just even like to you said, if it sounds like a ukulele, you've won the game. I mean, that's the trick. No one's going to know the difference between a Martin and an Offerman except Offerman.
It's true. I mean, I realized that, one time I saw Patty Griffin playing this incredible vintage Gibson J200. And
Yeah.
just, I mean, she's, just an absolute magician on the
Yep.
guitar, and her voice is so beautiful and bewitching. And I just fell in love with everything about her. And I thought, I want to one day be as good, I want to move people the way she does. So I got to get that guitar. And for years, I would go play this like a vintage J200, this jumbo country guitar. And
Right.
every time I was going to pull the trigger and buy one, I would play it and hear it, and then I would say, "Well, that unfortunately, it still sounds like me playing it."
That's it.
So I'm gonna instead I'm gonna buckle down and figure out how to make my own, and that'll be a much better story. And like you said, nobody will notice that it's not a Stradivarius.
That is a much better story. The old Chet Atkins line you probably heard. He was in a studio and a guy goes, "Man, that guitar sounds great, Chet." And he unplugged it and threw it on the floor and said, "How's it sound now?" It ain't the guitar, it's those hands. Nick Offerman's going to be at the O'Shaughnessy on St. Catherine's University in St. Paul Monday night, 7 p.m. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be at the. I'll be out there with you. I can't wait to see it. I do have to ask though, the Yule log ad from got to be a decade ago by now. I'm assuming that was one take.
It was one take.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that was. I'm so grateful. I've had a 10-year relationship now with Lagavulin single malt Scotch.
Yeah.
Started with that being my character Ron Swanson's Scotch on our show, Parks and Rec, and that was we were shooting a few legitimate commercials, and one of our writers just had this idea: what if you just shoot this? And so the longest card in our digital camera at the time was we could do a 45-minute take.
Yeah.
So it was one uninterrupted 45-minute take, and the corporation, the drinks company, called and said, okay, you can do it, but you can only take a sip every 15 minutes because we always want to promote drinking in moderation.
Right.
And so it's just, and then hilariously, somebody strung it together into a 10-hour version.
Yeah. Got to be 10 years old. And I think about it every Christmas. It was fantastic.
Well, I'm very grateful. Sometimes we get lucky.
Nick, it's great to talk with you, man. We'll see you Monday night. Certainly appreciate you taking the time. All the best.
Thanks again, Steve. Good to see you.
You got it.